Hi team, I hope everyone's doing fine. If you have been reading my blog on CIMB.net, you would know that I have made a personal commitment to communicate more with everyone. And this video is part of that. I'm sure by now, most of you have already heard of T18 and how 2015 is a year of recalibration. I would like to share more details on what it is about and your role in it. But before I share that with you, let me set the tone by going through some of our key financial highlights for the past year, which I presented during the recent town hall.
On the key highlights of the results, for BAU ROE, we posted a very low ROE this year, 9.3%. Our business as usual net profit was actually down 25%. The decline was from the slower capital markets and bank insurance impact from the regulations in Indonesia. The higher provisions, I will show you later. There was some goodwill impairment for our investment banking business. And then, of course, there was some non-core asset disposal which mitigated the decline. Good thing is cost is contained, 0.6% year on year. But again, if you look at it, it's actually a reduction in cost if you take into account inflation. Good news is our CET1 actually strengthened from 8% to 10.1%. This is because of our placement and also our regulatory reserve release. If you look at loan impairment, that's where you can see the numbers affected from 661 million last year. This year, our loan impairment was 1.5 billion. That's an increase of about 900 million of impairment last year. It came from Indonesia, mainly from the coal and coal-related sectors, but also Malaysia. Wholesale banking actually went down 40.9% because of this, as well as the impact on the lower capital markets. So treasury markets also down 18.1%. We have a very strong loan growth. We did very well in retail and also commercial, up 14% and 17.6%. And if you look at even corporate loans, was up 9.5%. So total loan growth last year was still strong at 13.2%. So Indonesia is the main country that actually declined 52%, mainly again from the provisions. Thailand went down 37.2%. This is decline mainly from their stockbroking business, and there was no longer one-off income from TAMC. Malaysia actually did quite well for consumer bank. Malaysia was up 7.5%. Malaysia CASA grew by 5.2%. That's actually higher than the industry. The industry grew about 2.2%. So we doubled the industry growth. Singapore is growing quite strongly, 40% last year. We started 2015 with a stronger capital position. I mentioned just now, our CET1 now is at 10.1%. This is an increase of 200 basis points from where we started early last year. So our group feels that it's going to be a tough year this year. We are expecting a slower GDP growth in Malaysia and Indonesia. Our capital market outlooks and also commodity is going to be slow. And like I said just now, asset quality will remain a challenge in early 2015. And we hope that the worst will be over after first quarter.
Fourth quarter 2014 was CIMB's worst quarter results in the past 10 years. This is not something we are proud of, and we feel that now is the time where we have to make certain tough decisions and make sure that we are stronger going forward and ready to face the challenges ahead. CIMB has grown rapidly over the past 10 years. However, our rankings in key performance indicators have been declining across the board. We were top 3 in terms of ROE performance amongst ASEAN banks in 2010, but in the third quarter of 2014, we dropped to 9th place. Our cost-to-income ratio, or CIR, is at a rock bottom, where we are at 12 out of 12 of the banks we compare ourselves against. Our share price fell to a 3-year low in November last year, and on top of that, as you all know, our recent performance has been poor. Recognizing this, we initiated a strategic review last year, where we looked at our various businesses, geographies, the economic environment, and industry trends, as well as our own strengths and weaknesses. From there, we define a mid-term direction and a set of targets which we call Target 2018. or T18 for short. We aspire to be a leader in our home market with a deep presence in ASEAN with strategic links to APEC and beyond, as well as becoming a globally recognized leader in Islamic banking. By 2018, we aim to hit a 15% ROE, drive down our cost-to-income ratio from 59% to 50%, and for our contribution from consumer banking to increase to 60%. T18 has a two-pronged focus. We aim to become leaner and more productive, focusing on the reduction of our cost-income ratio. Whilst driving productivity improvements, we intend to invest and accelerate revenue in key growth areas which are strategic to our franchise, such as digital consumer banking, commercial and SME banking, and transaction banking. Gurdeep, our Chief Strategy Officer, explained T18 in a little bit more detail in one of our town halls.
This is really trying to give a view of how we could get to achieving our targets. And really it's around those three levers that I've put there: cost management, business acceleration, and capital management. A few levers of how we're going to get that uplift. Cost is of course a very big one, and the numbers that are coming through from some of the recent streamlining is certainly getting us off to a good start. In terms of the work streams and how we are organizing the efforts and what needs to be done, it's grouped in these 4 streams. We have something called Biggies, which mirrors the 3 areas I talked about just now, as well as on culture, the digital consumer space, SME or commercial banking, as well as transaction banking. And some of the earlier work comments on the IB transformation. The second stream is really around governance and structure work, and that's also going to continue. Third is really around tactical work. So this is really all the businesses that everyone runs. We need to also make tweaks and improvements to ensure that we remain competitive vis-a-vis what's happening in the market. And finally, footprint and expansion remains an area that we will be looking at, but of course very cautiously. Our posture on this will not be overly aggressive. To give you a flavor of the biggies, what you can see is that, in areas like digital, what do we really want to do? I think Renzo and team have started off a lot of work here in Malaysia in particular, and that's going to go across the region soon. It's really around things like activating digital channels for sales. We have used digital channels a lot for services, transactions, but really how can we leverage these channels better for sales? Really getting into a lot of data analytics and getting to understand how to interact with our customers better. SME 2.0, that's moving in the direction of giving it a lot more emphasis. JR has done some work in Singapore, anchoring around sectors and building capability for SMEs around sectors. That's something I believe he will take across the region. And in transaction banking, of course, we've made certain inroads in areas like supply chain, etc., and that's going to continue. What exactly is ROM? ROM is not just the organization chart. Organization chart is part and parcel of ROM, of course, but there's other dimensions of ROM. But why are we ROMing, right? I think the real reasons why we are ROMing is the desired upside is hopefully we will increase efficiency, we'll be better in adapting the best practices that exist in the different markets. We should be in a better position to protect the franchise as there is potentially greater consistency. And of course, we should be able to move faster with regards to, for example, technology, etc., where we have it coordinated and run centrally. We should be able to roll out things faster. So in conclusion, we realized that there is not much choice but to recalibrate because business as usual is just not going to work. So it's not going to be an easy thing. But I think if we take it step by step, the way we outlined, I'm quite confident we will get close or if not ahead of our plans.
Now that we have a longer-term view of what's going on, let's talk about what's happening in 2015. 2015 is a year of recalibration, which means that we will reassess our targets and objectives, reprioritize the way we do business, rethink our methods, and reset our attitudes and behavior. We have already started to make some difficult decisions. After intense discussions, we decided to close down our Australian offices. And recently, we announced a group-wide regional reorganization. The restructuring is a key first step towards our regional operating model. The first key change is that every unit in CIMB will now have a single regional head who all units in the various countries report to. This will enable us to gain efficiencies through centralization and break down some of the silos that exist today. It would also enable the seamless movement of staff within our network and unlock resources and talent. Under the reorganization, we have merged CBTM and Investment Bank into a single wholesale banking unit. Commercial banking will be a main business pillar. Consumer banking across the region will have a single regional head moving forward, and we will also have a new business pillar called Group Asset Management and Investments. Under the new structure, we will have matrix reporting, where various people in various countries will be working a lot closer now with their regional heads, as well as their country CEOs. One of the recent projects that we have kickstarted is Project Kaiju. This is a project on our cost management initiative. Project Kaiju is one of the most critical components of the T18 initiatives, and it's not just about cutting costs, but looks at establishing a cost-conscious mindset, optimizing our resources, implementing real structural changes and more efficient processes, ensuring that we get the targeted returns for every dollar spent and getting a handle on our spending. Every one of us has a part to play in this process. We need to start treating every cent of CIMB's money as our own and try our best to minimize expenses. Besides cost, culture is another key focus area for this year, and this is a subject close to my heart. If you don't remember a single thing I said in this video, just remember the 3 critical behaviors on the screen now. These critical behaviors are a vital element for us to build a better CIMB for our future success. With the diversity of individuals and geographies that make up CIMB today, it is very important for us to have a united culture to pull everyone together as Team CIMB. You, me, and every single person in Team CIMB is crucial to this process of recalibrating our behavior. I am reaching out to each and every one of you to really start practicing these 3 critical behaviors in your daily work lives, whether it is with colleagues, customers, or the other communities that we serve. Personally, I am very excited about the journey ahead of us. As we go along, I am sure we will hit some bumps and obstacles along the way. But I'm confident that if we all remain focused and work together as a team to meet the challenges ahead, especially during this transition period, we will make T18 a success story, not just for CIMB, but for ourselves as well. Success for CIMB is not just about meeting our financial targets, but also building a sustainable CIMB, which is resilient to market conditions, is able to stay ahead of stiff competition, and of course, looks after the communities that we are in. The key to success for CIMB will be in how well we work together as a team and not how well our individual units fare. Team CIMB is greater than the sum of its parts. Remember, the strength of a team is each individual member, and the strength of each member is the team. Let's work together in building a better CIMB. Thank you.